setup. Let's say, yeah, so let's do 7. Okay, cool. All right, hello everybody. I am Cage from Larnuu. Also, I'm Cage from CubePunks. Larnuu was my old username that I did a lot of like Lego Bionicle stop motion animations under, and CubePunks is my original projects that I've been doing. It's my game development team that I've been starting up. So, as far as CubePunk stuff goes, we've been doing CubePunks for a couple years now. We were originally going to be doing animation, but then we made the pivot into game development, and it's been better off doing game development than actual animation. So, right here, as you see, this is our portfolio. We have about, I would say like 7 games or so completed. We have, Pinball Breaker Deluxe, which is our newest one, Greedy Goblins. Both of them are featured on the front page of newgrounds.com currently. This on the mobile site and this on the desktop site. Poco Loco, Poco, Pinball Breaker Original, and My First Kamikaze. We also have another little family-friendly game called 4. So, that's nice. Anyway, we also have a comic. My brother primarily does the illustrations and art assets for CubePunks. Not all of them, but, a fair chunk of them. And I do the vast majority of the technical work for CubePunks. It's not always just black and white. I always do this. He always does that. But broadly speaking, majority of artwork like this, that's him. Artwork like this, that's him. But the actual functioning games, that's my work. That's what I do. Right now, currently, this is going to take forever to load, so we're going to bail on that. Currently, right now, we are working on trying to do a visual novel. So this is what we have so far. We have these jokey anti-piracy warning messages right here. And then we also have the title screen, and we have the main menu's elements. Need to tweak a couple things, but the elements of the main menu working in terms of visual graphics. Not every single button's programmed because not every single mode and feature is in the game yet. However, this is how the main game is going to look like in the final thing, more or less. There's some asset things that are changed, like the text boxes might need to be changed a little bit. But by and large, this is what you're looking at. This is the genre game we're making, a visual novel. Tongue-in-cheek, making fun of like weird like anime OVAs that you would typically get in like the 90s. Oftentimes the animations were actually 80s animations. Neither here, neither there. But yeah, it's like a little bit of a parody game. Project being worked on, making fun of the weirdness of visual novels. So people be thinking, oh, you're making something sus? Hey, unfortunately, we're not making what you want us to make. We're making fun of what you want us to make. Anyway, so Osu says Larnuu. Yeah, not my username. Anyway, so right now, here we have all this stuff. I'm going to skip through the dialogue and all that right now, just so you can get to like the little sections to show the full picture, because there's another element that that we have here that you're not seeing right now. Just let me speed through it. Yada yada. Okay, so here we have this here little animation, like slash pop-up sequences that break away from the standard visual novel style to this. These go by multiple different names. We're calling them cutscenes currently in the files. So as you see here, depending on what you choose, different little animations happen while like when you do it, and it triggers different things. And those little animated segments, granted, it's not much more animation than what you see in a game like WarioWare, but we'll call them animation for argument's sake right now. The way that works is this, okay? So, first minigame, pull up the sequence. So what we have here is that this little viewport thing here, that is the filter for the game. Let's get rid of the filter so it's easier to look at. So this black box here controls transitions. So if you have things like the camera wiping in, like fading in, fading out, wipe transitions, all that stuff, that is done by the black box. So we have transitions in the game, and we also have this plugin called Dialogic. Dialogic handles in like the whole entire visual novel sequences in a format that is mostly drag and drop. The way I see it is that if you can use a tool and a foundation that somebody else built, it's redundant to rebuild it yourself if the tool is good enough, or you're able to get what you want out of the tool. Now, yesterday was basically me spell checking and reviewing a lot of this stuff. And I did a test stream of me reviewing this, all of this for the entire game. It was not exactly the most engaging, but it needed to be done. Now, one thing though with it is that there are certain features that aren't present in Dialogic that we have to, basically make into custom code and figure out how to get it to interact with one another. Some of that is these the little animation sequences, the cutscenes. So if I wanted to have character, like the animation of like it shows when you choose to beat up the little creature, or if you choose to catch the little creature, and also to stand down stuff, all this stuff I couldn't do in Dialogic. I had to do this stuff customly within the Godot engine. Dialogic is an add-on for Godot. Godot is the main engine itself. I had to build it outside that on. Well, that allowed me to do all this stuff like the little PNGs of the characters with the text boxes below. Also, if I want to change the PNGs out, or if I want to change the theming of the text box, I can do so inside Dialogic itself. Now, Dialogic has a thing where it says emit signals. The way signals work in coding is that you have a little thing that shouts to the world saying, hey, I'm doing this thing right now. This thing. Now, if something is listening to the signals, then it can trigger a response to it. If it's not wired to the signal, then it just ignores the signal. It's not listening to it. So with this, I'm able to set up the signals and basically have it be that the Dialogic timeline shouts to the main host scene, because Godot uses a node editor and a hierarchy. So Dialogic shoots the signal to the parent. The parent listens and it does that. So everything else is not listening to Dialogic except the parent here. And Dialogic has this thing where it's like if you type in a specific thing, you can say, hey, I'm shooting out a signal. Okay, what type of Dialogic signal are you shooting out? Well, this value controls it. So I have this match statement here. And these match statements basically say a Dialogic, like depending on like what's typed in here, like when I drag and drop emit signal and type in this thing here, the host will wire up and do a match statement. So if it says stand down, that's like when it makes sure to show the little stand down animation like this one. Then it also has like beaten up. It shows the beaten up thing. It shows this and that, and also if it needs to pop up the little artwork view thing and also make it disappear, that is all controlled by basically saying, hey, Dialogic is I typed in the words in Dialogic, and if these words are typed in there, then do this specific thing, match the words. So right here, we are doing today for this is that we're going through the cutscenes and basically sequencing, more or less animating in engine all this stuff. It's better to animate the stuff in engine because of the fact that you get better optimization if you have all the stuff animated in engine, rather than trying to animate all the stuff inside, say, like a video file and then export the video file into the game image, or export a bunch of PNG images, because you run into really large file sizes. Images and videos are not really necessarily that optimized in terms of file space, just in general, the general file format. Also, you do run into issues where it's like you have a lot of transparency layers. If you have a large image, but you offset like where you want the thing to exactly be by putting a big wall of transparency, and then you layer the images that way, you get your result, but again, it's not optimized. So the best way to optimize for engine is basically animate every single little thing within the Godot animator. So you have these animation player nodes that manipulate and move these objects around. So it's like for the stand down, it's like, oh, I want the characters to basically zoom in. So you have stand down. Let's see, you and Lottle. Okay, so yeah, so you did this little texture image right here, which looks like this right here. Then that is just imported in here, and then they have animation player keyframing enlarge, and this is just like a little transparent thing, and then this white background, that's another just separate image element inside the Godot editor. I will go further into detail because this today we're basically building sequences like these, and also maybe doing a little bit of polishing on it. So I think that we need to have this actually a little bit different because I don't like it. When I did the test file earlier, I kind of just wanted to fade in. Okay, so the way that this works is that there's like a window frame of what basically how long you want the animation to last. Any keyframe relying outside of this is just not used when it's triggered. So if worse comes to worse, I don't like how it looks later, I can just drag this keyframe back in and replace it. If you want something to loop in Godot, you can do it this way. If you want to change the value of how things are measured by frames per second or point seconds, you can do it this way. Duration is controlled with this little thingy, and also if say you got like the perfect like basically the timing and animation, but you just want to slow it faster or slower, sometimes you can just use speed playback for it. I believe I use speed playback for my transitions here. If I do it, no, actually, this is not an example of that. Well, sometimes I've animated transition animations that have been too quick or too slow in a game, but it's like, well, I want all the, it's like I want that movement, but I just don't want to change the whole thing. I just change that value, and you can make it go either way, forward or backwards. But this animation player right here is like this node in the timeline, and these controls, because it manipulates everything else here. I use this all the time when I make my games. It is actually what I consider to be like one of the most powerful tools in all Godot. And so like to load up greedy goblins here, for example, I in this game, like I animated a little cutscene between sequences, and that cutscene was so much better to do in like instead of making a video file in like Flash or something like that, again, file size. But here I was able to keep it small and optimized, and this game is only a couple megabytes big. So here, animation player was just telling sequence thing, make it rotate here, make it jump here, move it up, move it down, have easing to make it look like gravity. All of that is the sprites just being slid around and sequenced and timed in Engine. There is no like real proper programming. It's more animation editor work. So again, a lot of the animation player stuff, very powerful tool. I get a lot of mileage out of it. The problem is it could use more work and being more friendly. Like something like Blender, or hell, even like old school Flash, I would argue is more intuitive of an animation tool than Godot's built-in animation player. But the problem is, since it's being all done in Engine, it's like it's really the only tool you have to make sure it's perfect. Granted, later and more recent versions of Godot actually allow you to import direct to Blender files into the Godot engine, not even export the Blender file. I'm talking about the open Blender file, just drag and drop into the game engine. That allows for infinitely better animation and pipeline, because Blender is a software more catered toward animation specifically. However, I have not figured out how to use like Godot Blender animation for say 2D assets, so I don't know how that integration would necessarily help a visual novel. Also, I use Godot 3 rather than Godot 4 currently for my browser games because it's easier for me to get this stuff cross-platform. Okay, so I did a lot of talking. I did blood been yapping. So hopefully this is a thing that when it's compiled together and I'm done with the stream, it's something that I'm more comfortable with having archived on my channel. Let's see. I need to double check to see if this music is working correctly. let's see. Oh, hold on a second. Hmm. Uh, desktop music. Um, Hold on a second. I need to check something on my stream playback because I'm trying to have it make it so that there's music playing while not yapping, but I'm not sure if it's working correctly. Okay, there we go. That's what the issue was. I had I didn't have the right setup there. Okay, there we go. Oh, actually, so what we should show right here is the sequence. So another thing too is it's like I have this 3D model background in the game, and that's another element that I had to do custom outside of the Dialogic add-on to have it work. So it's using a viewport node to project the 3D element to 2D element, and then throughout the game, this is going to be used, different camera placements within the island for different backgrounds. And that's just better in general for just both file optimization, while also you just don't have to draw nearly as much, and that's always nice. And it gives it also more of the retro game aesthetic that we wanted to go for. It's just overall win-win-win. I see this as an absolute win, as Glasses Hulk would put it, and that's still cool, right, kids? Anyway, so what we're going to do here is that we're going to first identify what sequence we're going to be working on. So we're just going to drop this here, and we'll just have animation player. Then we'll also have just transitions, because this was used regardless of scene. We're just going to use the same transitions, always already sequenced. Copy and paste that. Then we'll just have this for a shot. And let's just use this color rect right here just for a general point of reference for how things should look. Visibility, let's see. There's something off about it. We should be seeing you. Why aren't you visible? Rec position. That's odd. Maybe you're visible this way. You know what? Let's see if this works. Oh, I'm an idiot. Transition node. That's why. Okay, there you go. Mystery solved. So we have 1920 divided by 2, and then 1080 divided by 2. And that will get your objects square in the center. Simple division. Beautiful. We like it. Now, I have this here just for visual reference, just so general good rule of thumb of like how things are layered out in the scene. So we'll have that, and then we'll just copy and paste this because we know it's square in the center, and we'll just use these as shot reference. Just default template nodes for the shots in the sequence. Now, the way that I did the animation before is that the animation player toggles, like this just toggles like the intros in and out, but this also, it plays an animation when it loads, but also toggles the visibility of all the previous, things. And it has a start layer where everything starts off invisible, but then say catch happens, but also then I do beat up, well, the visible node there. It's tracked in that way, so it hides everything else. So it's good to basically block out and basically figure out how many shots you need, drag the elements you need in the shots, then actually add in the movement for the shots per each thing. And then later when you do the whole entire sequence here, then this is when you use the dialogic node value to say listen, and then it triggers all those animations that you are animating over here at the right times. So that is what we're that is what we're doing here today. Actually, we can't save yet because we don't know what we're doing right now. So we need to boot up Dialogics, tab, look through all of this, and then figure out within this spot that whatchamacallit, what sequence we're doing now, because I don't want to do like the longest thing in the world on this showcase stream for the add-on, but I don't want to do something that's I'm trying to think of how to put it. I want to do something that shows the process well, but I also want to do something that's not going to take me multiple hours, because the Greedy Goblin's little short level one animation I showed earlier, that was that's like a solid like hour of work, maybe even an hour and a half for that, as crazy as that sounds. So I need to find something that's not as complicated, but it does show a good chunk of the process, so you get the idea. So I'm going to go silent for a minute, find that stuff, and you know, you'll just see me thinking live and putting things together, and then I'll start yapping again when relevant. So right here is actually that's okay. Oh, that's a beautiful thing to do. Oh, this sequence, that's a good one to do. Beach Peak. Okay, so we should, that is gonna be in door, that's door C sequence, right? Please load. This is one part I don't like about Dialogic, and it takes a long time to load, and it sometimes beach balls on me when it does that. So this is good. Okay, so basically, you know, the sequence is basically a character looks out at the window. This is your little player character. He looks out of the window, and basically a girl is, you know, suntanning, and she, you know, accuses, you know, you of you know, basically creeping on her. So that sequence, you know, is good. Actually, we'll show you how I code in forking, because depending on what your choices in the visual novel, basically either she is, you know, doing the beach tanning or she's doing the beach tanning. I can simply code it in a way where by reading a single variable, it will sequence the animation and, you know, just toggle which one of these two is the one that's used. However, you know, when setting up the animation player, I can set up the animations for the alternate thing. I'm not going to do the little, you know, oh, play this version, if this version, if that on the stream, because that's a later step of the process. But I can set up the foundations live on air. So since this is like only a singular shot compared to the other ones, we actually don't need to do all that, all the other prep work I was doing. Other shots, yeah, you need all these nodes and basically toggle the visibility between them. But for this, none of that needed, because it's just only one sequence. So I use an animated sprite node for objects where it just needs to be the same place. I mean, just different keyframe poses of the animation. There are ways to use animated sprite as like a looping GIF, or like if you're doing a platformer game, animated sprite's actually really helpful for all the character animations. But this is me using something in an unconventional way to get the result I want. No, don't do that. Don't drag and drop when I don't want you to drag and drop. All right, so, okay, let's see. We have Beach Peak. We have Lottle 1, Lottle 2. Okay, so we actually, but we'll hold off on using you. We'll go focus on door 1. Okay, yeah, so he's connected to the door. Okay, cool. So now, retrospect. Should have maybe organized these folders per cutscene, but it is what it is. All right. New sprite frames. Pull it up. We got default. We do this. We remove loop. We have resources. Actually, will this? Why are you in front of everything? And why are you not visible? Okay. Cool. Oh, you're just too big. That's what it is. Oh, why are you over there? Dunce. Let's put you back to normal. 1920, 1080. And you get scaled only by 3. And we divide you 2 by 2. And that's the center. All right. Now we have, maybe it might need only be a 2 for this sequence. We'll figure out later in a minute. Use that. I don't want the other tool. This up here. Move you around there. We have the background, Beach Peak background. Do we have the BG? Okay, so it's just BG. BG, come on. There we go. Because BG's, that's okay. Cut that joke. That joke wasn't good. Okay, so we have that there. We actually probably don't need you no more. We have you. You're going to be here, and these are going to be keyframed by frame, so it's just going to be that to that, and we'll keyframe offsets too to make sure everything is in the right position. Looking at this stuff, I might need to turn on filtering for it. Filtering, basically does like anti-aliasing on the sprite. So if you zoomed in and the filter was on, this is going to be fuzzy, but when it's off, it makes everything pixelated. But sometimes when you get like a pixelation, if you don't, have that like the perfect like mathematical scaling in between sizes, it can double up your pixels and make the form look a little off. So we'll see if it looks good. Post a little bit of code work, I guess is a good way to put it. Okay, we have door slam effect. Okay, yeah, we want the slam effect. Slam effect. Then we do this here. So when the door closes, let's get that door closed, which is going to be frame 3. Slam effect is going to be approximately eso. There we go. And then it will just scale up and then, just kind of just be there and just change opacities. We will figure that out when we animate it and figure out what looks best in this little limited animation style. A lot of this is one half, it's one half planning, one half winging, I guess is a good way to describe a lot of this sort of stuff. You have a general idea of where you want to go with it, and then while you're doing it, you just try things. You see, like, okay, I know this rule of thumb makes something get a good result. Will it work here? Does it work here? Yes, keep it. If it doesn't work, then toss it. And that's actually in general, that I would argue that's decent animation device when you're doing stuff that's more motion graphics related rather than actual like animation related, because there's no exact sciences, but there's a lot of rules of thumb. Learn the rules of thumb. All right, so that's it. They're just character names, so we just need Nova 1, and we will have this as girl. So anime sprite girl. So we will have one of these that is for one of the girls. There's two girls in the game, Nova and Constella. So we have Nova here, and we're gonna have Constella here. Nova 1 here, okay, and none of these are going to animate. It's just going to be toggling between the frames when needed to. So Nova 1, we will need Nova 2 right here, and that's her yelling. Do you have Constella 1, and then we Constella 2. Now we will have Lotl. And this is, so we will have girl. Actually, it's more accurately other girl. In the code, there's two roles, girl and other girl, depending on sequence. Do you really want to know like the history of like how something got one naming convention and something got another naming convention, or would you rather me just do just be like what Penn from Penn and Teller says in the classic YouTube poops, and shut the fuck up? I think you'd rather me to shut the fuck up. Animated sprite right here. All right, now this is going to be a little character that runs around in the background. So Lotl, and we will have him do this. So we'll have this here and this here, and unlike the other ones, we will actually use the animation player as a damn animation. So we will have that running. And does that look good? Actually, the offset's not great for it. So we need to figure out that. Actually, we might not be able to use this way. I might need to actually open up. Yeah, I'm gonna actually have to open up Photoshop to fix this one. This is not going to be fixed correctly because of the offsetting. Because you see right here, what issue we're experiencing right here is that the frames are being done where they're cut out perfectly around it. It's perfect, absolutely perfect. However, the problem is that these frames are not the same size. They need to be the same size so the offset doesn't get make the characters like jump cut as much. As much as I hate saying it, it seems like everything in this sequence is going to be suffering under that issue. So fantastic. We're going to be doing some Photoshop work to fix all this. But I could just animate everything with the jumping around now and then do the Photoshop work and get fixed. Yeah, let's actually just do it that way, because the only positioning movement that's real needed is the slam effect, and which is not much, and this little axolotl character. So he's just tweening left to right. Now let me show you a trick here. This is a cool one. So this is a color rect, simple rectangle. So it just makes a color. What we like about the color rect is, first off, it's all drawn in engine. So if you just need a big rectangle color, it is better optimized to do this. If you got a PNG image of this, like a just full screen of white, that's wasted pixels. But also, what we have going on here with the color rect is that you have this right here. But if you turn on a tool called clipping, where is it? Margin, grow direction, rect. There you go. That's where we'll clipping. There you go. The character is now not able to be shown outside of the parent color rectangle. So now if we do this and we make the current rectangle transparent, and we just have the Lotl running along this way, there you go. This background is, this was all one image, but then now I got a masking effect. Move you down over here, then we just make this Lottle run. And there we go. Now we have a thing where it's like if we want the little character to run across the screen, we have him do that. And, you know, no one's the wiser. And he can actually run like this. Or somewhere. I don't know. Point being is we'll figure out the running later, but point being is it's yeah, he's kind of running on water, isn't he? Is he a Jesus lizard? Yeah. We'll figure out how to, you know, move him, but we'll just keep him kind of over the horizon like this for the time being. Actually, so if we do move it down like this a little bit, then we got more of the drop shadow effecting going on. So then we mask out the wall, but not the floor as much. And if we do it that way, then there you go. His drop shadow is visible. So we can just have him run like this, run in the background. And that, it seems like that's it for the blocking here. So now we need to have Dialogics pull up for the, yeah, actually, let's see. When does what happen, I guess is a good way to put it. Sunbathing one. Let's put sunbathing too there. How many do you... Okay, and let's use this for a Lottle run. I'll explain why I'm making this a own dedicated animation player effect later. We need a timer. Wait. And we put wait right here, and we have a second. Okay. Wait, maybe make it 0.5. You can worry about the duration later. But so what we have is that we will do a Lottle run will be a dedicated little sequence that worries about the little character. Just, you know, we will have position, then we will have Lottle playing, and if we do that, then it's playing like this. So then when that happens, the character moves, and then we grab Lottle, we drag him like this across the screen, we put him where we want the end position to be. We want him there. Now we have Lottle. Son of a bitch. Okay, so usually how it works is that we actually put the, okay, there, now you're gonna work. Okay, anyway, so we have him over there. Now, if this thing doesn't put me back to where it doesn't mess up like that, then now we have the end position. We drop a keyframe there. Now the character just runs across. I want him to run slower. So let's make it a 3-second duration. Now this will be just playing independently of everything else when it pops up. So, you know, when the visual novel stuff is going on, like regardless of the key bash, depending on what you're happening, this animation is just loading. This, however, depends on what point of dialogue you're controlled by. So that's why Lottle run is there, because he's an independent element. Now we have reset, and we will do, I start with reset first. So we have frames. No, that's not what we want. We want frame. Right? Oh, come on. Other girl. Frames? It should be showing up correctly. Why are you doing this? Come on. What's going on here? Give me a second. This isn't going how I remembered it going. Okay, so that's working. It's just not showing. Usually it shows a preview of the different frames for it here. So we won't question that. Okay, so she starts off here. She eventually jumps into the other thing, but we want just everything at default position. So our goal position is here, and scale is here too. So for her specifically, because depending on what version of the cutscene you're on, you will have either her or her sunbathing. When handling that part, that will be controlled and triggered by in-engine scripting. But what should I call it? Yeah, so that will the different girl will be controlled by in-engine scripting, not the actual animation player. So we don't keyframe that part. We don't dictate any of that information here. That's not this guy's department. This guy's department is making sure everything is moving on screen correctly and is moved when being told to move. So basically this cycle repeats, and everything is a combination of the Lotto running sequence and what I'm doing here until it gets done. So this is where I shut up and I just work. Patriot King says, "Go and follow your dreams." Based, very based, very cool. Thanks, Kanye. Very cool. To quote good Donald. Good Donald. That made me sound like a Trump movie. That's ironic. No. See, there you go. This is what I just did. That shows you, like, you if you were watching, right there, that is an example of the trial and error. So I did a lot of go back and forth on figuring out how to get the rotation and figuring out the scaling timing, but then now I got it to be that just by toggling 2 frames of open and closed, it has much more implied movement by just simple scaling or rotating and rocking stuff. So now we just have this right here to be the slam effect right here. And we have Come on. Darn keys. This should be like there. Let's do it like this now. Feels delayed. I guess we're going to do this. Yeah, boy. And then that's going to be there. And then we have scale. And we have scale. And then we do the scale like this. So the scale shall be from this to, let's do 1.4. That feels like a good distance. Let's do 2. 2 actually is better. No, 1.4. Actually, that's pretty solid, but we needed to be changing to Slam Effects, anchor point. So, offset. Not to be confused with Quavo. We're talking about offset. That was a little bit of Amigos jokes. Yeah, I listen to the rapping. I'm a cool rap fan. I listen to rap. I listen to rap because I don't think it's crap, even though I'm very picky about it. Let's see. Soder Fallout says, hi, hello, how's it going? We're currently building the game. Doing game programming right now. There you go. And that looks pretty good. Okay. And so we got the default rest position where things start. Then we got this yelling and she bounces when she yells. So it's like a rawr. Then we have this guy just going, ugh, and then for 4, it's, he closes it. And then we also have the transition of this going away, and we have the transition of this coming into play. So, yeah. Oh, and we also have this little guy running. But now we need to fix the little guy running because he still has that little offset issue. And, that's going to bother me. Like, maybe I could get away with, having the little offset running, like... actually, hold on a second. Maybe actually there might be a solution here. Can I move the offset of the object here and it can actually make it look better? Centered? Yeah, no, that's not gonna work. That's just... Yeah, no, we're just going to need to open up Photoshop to fix that. So now we do the Photoshop fixing, but we're going to transition to off camera because I don't ever pull up anything new while I'm on camera. Photopea. I use this tool right here that I'm going to be showing in a second. So I don't like paying for subscription services. I don't like paying licenses either. Most tools I make my games are going to be, avoiding both things. So whatchamacallit, the game engine. I don't use Unity because I don't want to pay Unity's licensing fees. Because, excuse me, if I'm paying licensing fees, I don't truly own my work. I don't truly own the creation I made with said tool. I feel that, you don't pay licensing fees when you use a pencil. You bought the pencil, you own that pencil, okay? And if somebody is giving out free pens, fantastic, even better. I think software should very much be in that sense. Now, art made with said tools, different story, but the tools themselves, I don't like paying licensing for them. And I don't like the idea of the basic your hard work being like, nope, yoink, yeah, you got to do this and this now. So I use Godot because of that. I use open source or I use one-time payment software. I don't use subscription services. So I use an in-browser alternative to Photoshop called Photopea that gets me most of the tools I want, but it's all in browser and it's all free. And I highly recommend it if you're trying to find a Photoshop alternative to hop from. It's the most one-to-one I've been able to find. There's other tools like Affinity or GIMP. They're all right. But I prefer Photopea because I got so used to the workflow. And smart layers are hard to beat. So let's see. Okay, we can transition over. This is Photopea. All that yapping just for this. So what we got to do is we got to make a singular image that's like a proper sized version of this. So let's see if this guy fits in this image. Allow. Okay. Then we have this. And then we have this. Yeah, that looks about right. So a lot less work than I thought it was going to be. Just export this guy over model 1, and we got the offset model 2. I'm going to do that exporting stuff now. Sorry, you don't get to see it. I prefer, not publicly displaying my my files. You ain't going to catch me. Listen, I'm not going to have a Vosh situation ever, but I just don't want you to see my files. Sometimes, what if my tax information comes up? Okay, I'm not as worried about the other stuff in the Vosh folder. Like, I'd actually be most mortified with my tax information being there because I'm like, shit, so somebody that's private financing stuff. As far as the other stuff, like the horses, I don't have to worry about no horse stuff in my folders. I don't gotta worry about no folders. Anyway. Let's see if this is going to work. So we got to get things to re-importing. But you're not re-importing. Hold on. Did we not just save you to the right spot? All right. Okay, now it's working. Okay, so this little guy's now not jumping around with his with the offsetting, and it looks right. Now, I could potentially go through that same work for, and also he just runs. So let's do actually. I want him down a little bit, so we do offset Y, and that doesn't change the position. It just changes offset, so it's I don't have to fix things. Remember, there's the offset. The offset attribute and the position attribute's different. Offset is like this little center cursor right here, the origin for your object. And position is like where the origin is placed on X, Y, and Z. And if you move the offset, you're not really moving you're moving the little character in relation to the origin, but you're not actually moving the origin itself. Position controls the origin itself. Got that? Useful thing to know. Very much applies to Blender stuff. Anyway, so there we go, and he runs, and that just plays in the background when you trigger the sequence, and it will run independently from everything else. So regardless on what frame of the character's talking, that just still runs through. So there you go. That's animating a sequence within the visual novel engine, and when you do that, then I just gotta put in together the sequence like this, structured in the same hierarchy using the appropriate background nodes for the sequence. And one last time before I bounce from the stream, we will no, just this, I want that. Before we go, just going to show off like what it looks like when it's pieced together, and then we go. So at the anti-piracy warnings right here. Then we had the title screen. Then we have the main menu. Minor adjustments with the animation, but it's mostly there in place, and I need to get menu functionality. This is the one completed sequence for the game. Text box styling, subject to change. But you have this. Yeah, let's just hit spacebar just to get through all this talking. Blood is blood yapping about. Engaging visual novel gameplay right here. I'm a hardcore gamer, dude. I'm speedrunning this so good. All right, so. All right, and then okay, and then at this part, the little sequence pops up, and this is one of the sequences that, you know, we just put in all the animation work for. And then let's do catch it with bare hands this time. Boom, shake, shows the character. When I get sound in there, I can trigger a sound effect to play there. And then, you know, you have more dialogue there, and then after that happens, then that disappears, and the visual novel stuff reappears. Okay, there you go. Yeah, that is building the visual novel sequences in Godot. I am going to now kill